welcome back to my channel. So it's time for my quarterly video on seasonal perfumes. This is my rundown of the top 10 best perfumes for winter. Every season I do a video like this, so do check out my previous ones and my hundreds and hundreds of other perfume videos. And if you're a regular viewer, do make sure you are subscribed and give the video a thumbs up. That really helps me. And as always, I will link down below in the description box a link to where you can get all the perfumes that I talk about in this video, all around the world, Europe, UK, North America, Australia, where they're available. They'll be linked down below. And of course, you can also find the link to where you can get my fragrances, Empress, Aphrodite, my super concentrated soy wax candles as well. For the winter, I definitely recommend my Empress perfume. It came out a year ago last week, actually. So it had its first year anniversary, and it's a really intense, deep, warm perfume with toffee undertones, strawberry, patchouli, rose, inspired by the discontinued Miss Dior Cherie. So if you're looking for a great winter perfume, then of course that's my recommendation out of my perfumes. And I do of course have my Christmas candles as well, a limited edition that there's not many left of them, so do get your orders in before they're all gone soon. Cool. So in my view, the winter is definitely a time when you want to wear your heaviest perfumes and probably leaning towards more like vanilla-y, cozy fragrances. So I have quite a few vanilla-y ones, but I also have some really good options for people that don't like vanilla as well. I think I'm actually going to start with some older fragrances that perhaps you don't see advertised that much at the moment, but are actually great scents. So first up, Dior Addict. So the Dior fragrances, when you think of Dior nowadays, you see so much of the J'adore advertising and the Miss Dior advertising. In my view, those perfumes are both quite fresh, quite spring, summer fragrances. Maybe the J'adore Infinissimi is a little bit more autumnal. Actually, in my view, the Dior fragrances that are better for winter are the ones that you don't see advertised that much. So Dior Addict is a vanilla-y fragrance with some jasmine in. It's kind of like if you combine Pure Poison with the Hypnotic Poison almost. It's feminine, but still has a really warm, classy vanilla. It's not a super sweet, sugary vanilla. It's like a warm, slightly powdery, almost caramelly, like toffee vanilla. It feels very classy, and to me it has a slightly Play-Doh feel to it. Now, I mean that in a good way. I love the smell of Play-Doh. I find it quite comforting and obviously reminiscent of childhood. So if you are a fan of those Play-Doh-y type vanilla smells, I definitely recommend this. It definitely lasts well, much better than Miss Dior lasts. And this is the eau de parfum that comes in this dark blue bottle. There are lighter versions. There is an eau de toilette, but for winter, I definitely recommend Dior Addict. And it's something a little bit different that perhaps not everyone else will be wearing. Another quite old one now, but great winter perfume is Viktor and Rolf's Flower Bomb. This is a really good for lasting perfume if you're looking for something that really sticks around. It has a patchouli base, and it actually has quite a lot in common with my Empress perfume, which also has a really strong, long-lasting patchouli base. There are some feminine floral orchid notes in here, which really do smell to me like an orchid. When you first spray it, you get slightly green floral tones, and then as it settles, the patchouli becomes like the star of the show. But it is one of those perfumes people can smell on you, you can smell on everyone else, and because it's been around for quite a while now, that you can usually get this at quite good discounted prices. Pretty much all the perfumes I'm going to mention today are available at Look Fantastic, where you can get them 21% off with my code LFTF Soki. That code works all throughout the year, but I did want to mention that in case you want to get any of these at that discounted price. And they usually do really pretty gift sets around Christmas as well with Flower Bomb, where you can get like a free product. I think last year I got it with a hand cream, and the hand cream was a really good for lasting. I found it really stayed, and I could really smell Flower Bomb on me. So this is good if you're looking for something strong. So into the vanilla fragrances, one of the original Kayali fragrances. This is a little bit more of a niche brand from Huda Beauty. Huda's sister Mona has launched her fragrance range, and she has so many fragrances now, but one of the originals is this vanilla, and I think it's one of their best sellers still. So along with like a vanilla orchid, which is kind of a little bit like the orchid note in Flower Bomb, you've got a really warm, sensual tonka bean and some sort of ambery brown sugar. So it's really cozy, deep, sweet, but without being sickly. It's like very much a brown sugar rather than a white sugar, if that makes sense. And this layers really well if you want to add more of a vanilla-y feel to another fragrance, or can absolutely be worn on their own. All the Kaoli fragrances are eau de parfums, but this is probably a little bit softer than Dior Addict. So if you're looking for something that's not as intense, but you still want that cozy, cuddly vanilla, then I do recommend the Kaoli Vanilla. Something that is a little bit different, which I like to wear this time of year, is from niche brand Juliette Has a Gun. This is a French brand that make really good quality fragrances, and they have this perfume called Lipstick Fever, which smells like lipstick. I actually got this engraved last year and it says Merry Christmas on it. So the smell that's used in like beauty products like lipstick and eyeshadow tends to be like a raspberry and a violet note. And I think they have recreated this pretty well here. Most of the Juliette Has a Gun perfumes, this lasts really well. It really does smell like getting like an expensive lipstick, and that smell you get when you first open it, it feels feminine. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of Hairspray, like you're like behind the stage getting ready, kind of reminds me of that. So it's got quite a powdery feeling. Violet's quite a powdery note, kind of like a powder eyeshadow scent. But it's just something that's totally different that, you know, none of your friends are probably gonna have. And it's something you can rely on, especially perhaps in the evening. It's got that very feminine feel to it. So it would be good for like a date night in the winter. If you're a fan of fruity fragrances, I recommend Lancome Trésor Midnight Rose. If you've been around here for a while watching my channel, you'll know that this is one of my favorite perfumes. I get a lot of questions asking whether this has been discontinued. As far as I'm aware, it hasn't, but I've noticed that most Lancome counters don't have it out on display. It's usually like in a drawer, or they just don't sell it. So I feel like it may be discontinued. Like, I mean, that's the kind of thing you do to something that you're discontinuing, right? So I have stocked up on this. What's good is you can usually get this really discounted. This fragrance was the first fragrance that came out with Emma Watson as the face of the fragrance right after Harry Potter ended and she cut her hair really short. I love it. I find it really addictive. It's a blackcurrant and cassis fragrance with rose and patchouli in. So there was a little bit of inspiration for this, for my Empress actually behind this. I talked through the composition of this with my perfumer Ruth, and this I guess is more blackcurrant, whereas Empress is strawberry, but that rose and patchouli undertone is something that they definitely have in common, and that strength that combination provide. But you really do get this syrupy blackcurrant. It isn't a fresh blackcurrant, it's more like a deep Vimto or a blackcurrant liqueur at Christmas, which is why I think it's great for winter time. I tend to wear this throughout the autumn and winter when I want that something a little bit fruity. I also do layer it with Empress, which works really well. But I will see where they still have this sold, where it's available, and leave the links below. You might be able to get this at quite a good price. But yeah, I think this is, I'm feel a lot of love for this, and I really don't want it to be discontinued. So another fruity option is Guerlain's Le Petit Robe Noir. This is such a hidden gem in my view, and it doesn't get talked about enough. It is a cherry and almond fragrance. So you really do get a deep winter cherry in this, but the almond tone that's underneath really lasts and sticks around. This is an amazing perfume for lasting, and this is the original eau de parfum, and this is the one I recommend if you like cherry, but you find that sometimes cherry perfumes can be very light, they don't last, they're not very wintry. For me, this is the most wintry cherry perfume you can get. So I think Carolina Herrera's Very Good Girl Glam, that was a cherry perfume. If you like that, but you want something much stronger, I definitely recommend this. Again, you can often get it discounted. It's been out for about 20 years, and it has this really pretty bottle, which I think is really unique. And in French, of course, it means little black dress, and there's a little black dress on the back of the bottle. And again, it's just something that your friends might not have, but you can really smell it on yourself. People always ask me what I'm wearing when I wear this, so I definitely think it's a great winter hidden gem. So two options if you like something a little bit more woody. First of all, Michael Kors Super Gorgeous. For me, this is another kind of hidden gem. It's really woody, but feminine jasmine, and it has in here with the jasmine and the wood, wood, a tobacco leaf note. And that smells like sweet. If you've ever been to like a tobacco plantation or anything like that, tobacco leaves don't smell anything like cigarettes. They have quite a sweet undertone though, and it really works here to bring out the depths of the jasmine and the woody tones in here as well, to create something that's definitely feminine. The jasmine is a very feminine note, but then you have all these woody, warm tones. The original one is called Gorgeous, and I recommend Super Gorgeous just because it's a bit heavier, it's got some more interesting notes in, and it just feels more wintry. This is another one you can often get at really good price. It's not sold everywhere. It's not, again, one that you hear about that much, but I think it's got a really sort of, not edible, but you just want to keep smelling it. That sweet tobacco note I find really addictive. I think this would work well to the office during the day, but you could transition it in the evening as well. And then my other woody recommendation is Hugo Boss the scent Les Parfums. So the scent range from Hugo Boss, the women's ones, tend to be focused around a peachy note, but this one called Les Parfums is quite different, and it has a main note called, I think it's called Agicala wood. It's a made-up name, made-up scent, created by, I think, Givaudan, that create the fragrances for Hugo Boss. And what they've created is a really slightly feminine woody note. You know, sometimes woody tones can be quite masculine, but this definitely feels feminine. I find it performs and lasts really well, and it has an almost pear-like quality to the opening that's fresh, but as it settles, this like really addictive, woody, feminine note comes through. And the other note it has in here is Orange Blossom, one of my favorite notes for spring, summer. Here it's made into a wintry Orange Blossom, which is not something I've really come across before, so I really like this. So if you are a fan of Orange Blossom perfumes like me, like Dolce & Gabbana Forever, like Elie Saab, then this is a great winter option. You can layer it with them or just wear it on its own in the winter. And then lastly, I do have two slightly vanilla-y options for you here. So Armani SE is for me definitely a winter perfume. This is the original Armani SE, which is vanilla, patchouli. There's of course the new intense one that has a bit of blackcurrant in. I remember wearing this when I've nearly broken it. When it first came out, I was wearing it quite a lot, and people were always asking me what I was wearing. I could really smell it on myself. So this is definitely something you wear if you want to get noticed, you want to be asked what you're wearing. It's definitely a good quality perfume. The intense one, I have a video on explaining what the new intense one smells like, so do check that out for more information. It's basically a more intense version of this, whereas the previous intense one was very blackcurranty. I think if you want blackcurrant now, I'd go for Tresor Midnight Rose. And then lastly, one that I feel is quite festive is Prada Candy. This is about 20 years old, so you can get it for really affordable prices. And this is a caramel fragrance. So it reminds me of the sweets that you get at Christmas time in the winter, like Quality Streets. You can really smell like a toffee caramel note, and it's slightly powdery as well. It's got this 1960s vibe, and I think it kind of reminds me of what I imagine like makeup and like old-fashioned sweet shops would smell like in the 60s. It lasts pretty well, and it's just a really unique bottle, and I wouldn't be shocked if this got discontinued in the next few years, because Prada really focusing on their Prada Paradox perfumes. But I think these are really cute and perfect for the evenings in particular. That sweet caramel fragrance is just really feminine and classy and unique. Cool, so that's my rundown of the top 10 perfumes for this winter. Of course, there are hundreds of others that would work well as well, so let me know what would be your selection. What would you choose as your top 10 winter perfumes? Let me know in the comments. I do read all your comments. And like I said, they'll all be linked down below where you can get these all around the world, and I'll put discount codes and things down there as well for you guys. But that is it. So thanks so much for watching. Do give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.